Hello, Mech Warriors. Are you considering doing a light mech SRM build? Well, I've got a couple of really good choices, and it's up to you to see which one you think is probably the best. I already know my pick. But for this purpose, I've come up with two mechs. One of them's Intersphere and the other one is Clan. Here we have the Jenner 2C, or as I like to refer to it, as the toilet. And if you get a side view of this thing, it makes sense. Yeah, it looks like a toilet. The other mech is a Javelin, which is not a pretty mech. In fact, it's kind of dorky looking. And that's why I've named this the Janitor. So we've got the Janitor and the toilet. Next, you will see how the Javelin fires its missiles and how the Clan mech fires its missiles. Both mechs are unskilled and are only using the quirks that Mechwarrior has given them. Each one is using 2 SRM4s and 4 SRM2s with adequate ammo and XL engines. Here we find ourselves in the Javelin JVN-10P. This has 4 SRM2s and 2 SRM4s and plenty of ammo. We are doing a max range test to see the accuracy. This is not an Artemis build because, quite frankly, it would be too hard to get enough weapon downrange. The tonnage on a Intersphere mech weighs quite a bit more than it does on a Clan mech. Here is the volley. Alpha strike. Let's go down range and take a look at it from the backside and see what we see. And a side shot.
Critical.
Here we are doing a close quarters fire, which is at 30 meters, and we've aimed for the center mass at the head. This is the Javelin 10P, once again with 4 SRM2s and 2 SRM4s. We're going to see how long it takes to kill and how many volleys. 1. It managed to take it down, and it was quite a few volleys. Because there's a mixed order with a 2-second cooldown of the SRM2s versus a 3-second cooldown approximately of the SRM4s, they end up chain firing after a short period of time. Here we are in the Jenner 2C, and we're doing a full volley with the same kind of weapons as the Javelin. 4 SRM2s and 2 SRM4s at maximum range. Here's the first volley. Second. Third. Let's go in behind and see what we see. Volley. And a side view. Here we are in the Jenner 2C at close quarters, 30 meters, and we're going to do as many volleys as it takes to destroy this mech. At some point, they will start to chain fire as they did in the Javelin. Once again, it's 4 SRM2s and 2 SRM4s. Firing.
Someone's on the naughty list.
Almost went into overheat, just getting the kill. Now that you've seen their firepower, you have a pretty good idea of what they're capable of. Each one of them has 6 missile spots and the ability to go with varying degrees of those missiles, whether it's SRM4s, SRM2s, or if you just want to skip everything, shred the armor all the way to 0, and put SRM6s on there with adequate ammo. You probably won't survive much more than a full volley from somebody else, but it'll be at least fun. So, first of all, we're going to talk about the Janitor. This is the Javelin 10P, and is an interesting choice. For this purpose, both these mechs, as mentioned earlier, are completely unskilled. No skills whatsoever. So whatever they come with in the store is what they come with here. Let's take a look at the Javelin. So as mentioned, the Javelin has 4 SRM2s and 2 SRM4s. It's also running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tons of ammo and 3 double heat sinks. It also or 3 standard heat sinks. It also has a Beagle active probe, and how I built it was with light ferrous, endo steel, and an XL 175 motor. This gives this a rated firepower of 34.4, a speed of 94.5, and a heat management of 1.34. Heat management is very important, especially if you intend to be firing these in good succession. Now, the downside of this build design is this runs an XL engine, but realistically, when you really think about it, the amount of armor this mech has on here, you can kind of afford to do it. The reason is because if somebody gets a really good volley with a couple of LBX-20s on you, it's not going to matter how much armor you had on left and right torso, because your center torso is probably going to be denied. So let's take a look at the quirks. Missile velocity, plus 15%. In other words, they're going to get there just a little bit faster. Heat, minus 5%, means 5% reduction on the amount of heat produced. Base structure, center torso, plus 8. Left and right torso, plus 8. Left and right leg, plus 8. Nothing for the arms, but does anybody really care? Honestly, no, probably not. And as you can see, the skills tree is 0. It's nothing done to it whatsoever. No cool shots, no nothing on this, just for the purposes of showing you what these two mechs are capable of. I chose to go with 2 of the standard heat sinks in the legs. And even though this is only running standard heat sinks, it still has a heat management of 1.34. Armor is given as 26 to the front and 2 in the rear, and then 20 on each one of the arms, and then 38 and 2. I had to reduce some of the armor on the head, which I don't feel is that big a deal. I have a machine gun Javelin, and I still haven't been headshot with that guy. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have to worry about it with this guy. So what's the pros that this mech has? Well, first of all the weapons are on the left and right torso, which is really nice, because you can use the arms purely for shielding. They're just there for shielding. You have all your weapons on the left and right torso, which means you have really good grouping. They're also very up high. If you look at the cockpit here, you have really good height on them, which means you can get in tight and close. Because the mech is narrow and has a narrow profile from the side and from the back, this is going to get into a lot of really small places. It's going to make it very hard for you to be targeted, and allows you to do some rear armor inspection. And that's very important. So again, it does have an XL engine, but all the weapons are on the left and right torsos, and it's got pretty decent armor. Here we are in the Jenner 2C, or as I call it, the toilet. We just looked at the janitor, the Javelin 10P. This is an interesting looking mech, to say the very least. First of all, it is much wider across than the Javelin is this way. It has a larger hit area here as well. From the front, it is significantly wider. Even though it's doing the same kind of weapon systems on it, and I did that on purpose, by the way, is so that you can see the differences between the two. The cockpit on this mech here is here, and the weapon systems are all above it, which is a nice feature. And though they have some of the weapons out on the arms, kind of like what they do with the catapult, it doesn't make it necessarily a bad design. I chose with going with the two SRM4s in the center torso, which I'm going to show you here. So the two SRM4s are on the center torso. That way, if I lose a left or right arm, I still have my primary strongest weapons here, opposed to putting them out on the arms and then having a pair of SRM2s as my weapons. I also made sure to put ammo in the head as well, in addition to in one of the legs, and then putting the single double heatsink here. We are looking at an ammo of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 tons. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6.5 tons. This is running an XL 235 motor. The firepower on this is given as 32. Speed is 108.8, which is faster than the Javelin. And the heat management is 1.45, which is way better than the 1.36. Let's take a look at the quirks. Heat, minus 10%. Base armor center torso, plus 14. Left and right torso, plus 14. Left and right legs, plus 10. And left and right arm structure, plus 4. We're also getting heat dissipation, minus 15%. Overheat damage protection, minus 20%. And seismic sensor range, plus 100. Basically, that means that you can detect anybody that's getting close to you. So even unskilled, this mech is incredible. No consumables on this build. The firepower, once again, is 32. What I really like about this overall design is the majority of the weapons are up high, with the exceptions of these two that are down low. The majority of the weapons are up high. This leads you to be able to do quite a bit with this build. And if you want, you can actually change out some of the weapons and put a pair of SRM6s in the center torso and then the SRM2s out on the wings, but you are sacrificing ammo to do it. So this way you're going to be able to fire longer in matches, but you're not doing as much damage in general. Bringing it home. What's my best pick? Well, I kind of have to give the nod to the Jenner 2C. And the reason is because I feel the Jenner 2C has better speed and better heat management. Though its weapon system is different than the Javelin, and the Javelin is a much smaller mech, I feel like this one is just slightly tankier, has better overall armor, and though the weapons are identical as far as firepower goes, for the most part, giving a slight nod to the Javelin, I feel like the Jenner 2C just does it better. Not to mention, when people see this on the battlefield, they know these things are a menace. It may look like a toilet, but believe me, it can put out a lot. So yeah, my final pick on the two mechs between the Intersphere Javelin and the Jenner 2C goes to the Jenner 2C. Not to mention, I see this thing and I go, oh, crap. I look at a Javelin and I go, oh, something to kill.